You're listening to the Turnaround Podcast, the true life basketball story of Bull City's own Stewart Squirt Holley.
Yo, man, this beat crazy.
The love that I got when they shipped me from Troy to Guest Road back then, those inmates had a respect for me. And so I never forget their messages to me. It was a few of them. One of them was named James, out of Fayetteville, JB, what we call. He had a homeboy named D. But those guys knew each other from the streets of Fayetteville. They was a few years older than me, and they liked to work out. I liked their demeanor, and I've always hung with older guys. They wanted no gangs. They were just old. You know, I was teenage, but they was early 20s. So I liked the way they carried themselves, and I hung out with them outside of my Durhamite. But I just remember them, especially JB, because JB used to put all his canteen up on me. He was the one who nicknamed me Baby Vince Carter. That's how I got that nickname on state, Baby VC. They was just, man, we're going to see you on TV one day, man. And I was like, nah, man. So, you know, it kind of began then. You know what I'm saying? Like, they put that seed in me then, because that's when I first ever heard anyone say that I was good enough to play professionally. I have a doubt of myself. It was always something I wanted to do, you know, just how to go about it. I didn't know how. And I actually thought that those chances were just over and done with. Whatever process it is, that's just over and done with. I'm in here. People my age, they went off to college. They in school, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting in here. And they was the first people to tell me that I was going to go somewhere and play pro. You know what I'm saying? I was going to go somewhere and be professional. You know what I'm saying? They was like, yo, we're going to see you on TV, bro. You know, they also nicknamed me Eddie Kane, because they said I was a wild man on the court. So they called me Baby VC, you know what I'm saying, a.k.a. Eddie Kane. And it was crazy. Like, they called me Eddie Kane. So like, man, you wild out here on the court. But they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself to a certain extent, I guess. I knew it was there, but I didn't know it was there. I just loved the game. That's all I knew. At that time in my life, I just knew I loved basketball. It was the only thing I really had. I fell in love with basketball as a 2-year-old. It's the only thing I've ever had. Basketball has never lied to me. Basketball has never hurt me. Basketball has never cheated on me. Basketball has never turned its back on me and walked out the door. You know what I'm saying? Basketball has never caused me any harm. Other people have, you know what I'm saying? Not basketball, not the game. You know what I'm saying? Basketball has always loved me. I've always loved it. And that's why I've always said that I'm glad that I always chased behind basketball. You know, I just loved basketball. And, you know, I always felt like it was just the most beautifulest thing. Everything about the game. Being a little boy, mimicking Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, you know, I didn't understand the magnitude of the NBA like I do now. All I knew is I just wanted to play basketball because I love the game. And then when you see them doing it, it's like, wow, this game is out there. Like, you know, I want to do that. So to play internationally, to play in the National Lithuanian Basketball League, I took it as an honor. I'm the first black or first American to play for Joniškis Delikateskis, formerly Žemgala. I'm the first Etonian to play professional basketball on any level. And it amazes me, but I just wish I could have did even better than that. I wish I just would have did better just so I could make sure my mama's straight at the end of the day. You know, make sure she good. You know, my mama done been through enough. And she, I tell anybody, she good today. And which she is. She got all her kids still here. And my sister just graduated from college. And it was crazy because when I was pulling my prison time, my mom used to come see me. And when I found out she was pregnant, I was just praying, hoping that it wasn't another little boy. So my mama gave birth to my sister while I was incarcerated. And I'll never forget when the guidance counselor from the prison sent for me, called me. I get in his office. So he asked me if I knew a Brooklyn Denise. I said, nah. I said, so why was she pressing charges against me also? So he just thought that was just so hilarious. So he said, nah, man, congratulations, man. That's your sister. When I looked at him, I said, my who? And I thought about oh man, my mom's and so the emotions that ran through me, I'm in a prison a few hours away from home, and my mama had gave birth to a little girl. When I heard about it, I was in there, so I was so happy, but I wasn't in the environment where I could show those type of emotions like that. So that just lets you know how real it is. Yeah, I didn't want to seem too overly joyed sitting in somebody's prison camp. And it was a scary thing because while I was there, I already got a 5-year charge that I'm working on, right? A 5-year sentence. And I'm charged with 3 felony assault charges, deadly weapon. 3 of those were a robbery with a dangerous weapon. So that's 4 more felonies that I'm charged with. And I'm still going to court back and forth, not knowing what my future was going to be, not knowing how much time these people were finna give me, even though I had pleaded not guilty. And I'm taking this trial, we're going to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't do these things that y'all said I did. Yeah, I made my mistakes and I own up to those mistakes. I stand up for what I did, you know what I'm saying? And I did that. But I won't finna stand up for something I didn't do. So I pleaded not guilty to the charges, took it to trial, and eventually those charges ended up getting dropped. And all I had to do was finish that 5 years. So that's how I ended up doing the 2.5 after 5 years, and then I came home. I got my younger sister, Crystal, my younger brother, Travis, and Terrell. But me and Terrell was raised in the same household because we got the same mama. Me, Travis, and Crystal, we got the same daddy. But I love them the same. They're my brothers and my sister. So, but yeah, I did think about them, and I definitely thought about my brother Terrell because we lived in the same household. And he's always been my younger brother, even though when we was younger, he used to get on my nerves, do just that younger sibling shit, I guess. But still, it's my brother and I love him. But I did feel as though I embarrassed him and let him down too, because I'm his older brother. My brother needed me. And, he always needed me because I'm his brother. And just like I always need him, he's my brother. But if it was something my brother couldn't handle, then, he came to get big breath. So I didn't want nobody to take advantage of my brother and I not be there to take up for my brother, because I ain't gonna let nobody hurt either one of my brothers or my sisters. So yeah, my brother came to see me just as much as my mom's, unless he was with his dad or something, because he was much younger. He's 6 years younger, but in those 6 years, I was just involved in some things that my brother didn't know. Now, he had ideas, but, he didn't know. Now, my brother used to see me do some shit now. But yeah, my brother, he came to see me. He was too young to write, so he didn't write me. But he came to see me, and I talked to him sometimes when I would call home and speak to Ma. And he always said he was good. I was like, all right, ain't nobody out there bothering you. I just make sure nobody out there, trying to bother my brother. I don't try to, bully my brother when I ain't around, because I'm going to get you. I always just hope he won't embarrass. I think he was probably too young to be hurt. All he just knew was I wasn't around, but he was probably kind of used to it because I would get locked up quite often, even younger, before I even went to prison. So maybe he was kind of used to it a little bit himself. The significance when I was coming home from prison was, even though I only stayed gone just right at about 2.5 years at the most, that was the longest period of time I've ever stayed incarcerated out of all the times I've ever been locked up. The other times was just months at a time, 6 months here, 9 months here. Then I eventually just graduated. So, but the significance of this time was when I had got out, the out of touch feeling that I felt. I felt a little behind in the community. Most of my high school, middle school friends, some of them had kids already. Some of them had went out to college, graduated, got jobs going, careers going. And I didn't know what I was going to do, where I was going to go, how I was going to do it. It was a scary feeling. So that's something I never expressed to anyone. I was scared, really. I didn't know. I was more scared going out than I was coming in. You know what I'm saying? And it was, that's probably ass backwards, but I was walking into the unknown. I was out, I think I had 3 months probation, and that was it. Then cut loose, and I complied with those 3 months. I thought about certain flashes went through my mind, like, well, damn, I remember when I first came in here, and it was crazy because real quick, that morning they shipped me from the county. They woke me up probably about 3:30 in the morning. By 4 o'clock, I was on a van, shackled, wrist to my waist, shackles on my ankles, a few other guys, and they took us to a prison where we loaded a bus after they dressed us out, and we went to go what they call process. And we rode what seemed like all day. We left that morning. It's like we rode around the state, going from one prison to the next prison, dropping guys off, picking guys up. And once we got to the final destination, I think it was like me and maybe 2 other guys that was getting off at Polk Youth Center at the time in Raleigh. And one thing that I never forget was I felt like the guards, when they changed us out, when we had to put on those state khakis and, you know, shoes and all of that, I remember the guard asking me what size do I wear. And when I told him what size did I wear, he gave me a size or 2 that was like smaller. And I was like, I can't fit these. And I don't remember what he said to me, but basically, I ain't had no choice. Gave me some high waters pretty much. It was crazy. Like, got me in some khakis that stopped before they even get to my ankles. But the crazy thing, you know, it had all my belongings and carried in both my arms. They walking us through the prison yard, and all the inmates were out. And they always looking at new inmates being brought in using some bullshit scare tactic that didn't work. Because in my mind, all I thought was, oh, this what it's about? I'm prepared. I got my daddy DNA in me. My daddy boxed 3 years professionally in the Army and went undefeated. So I ain't my daddy, but I got some of his DNA in me. And I was never shy with using these hands. So I actually had a pair of Air Force Ones. And I remember being on my bunk one particular day. They put me on the top bunk when I first got there. And I remember laying down to get ready to take a nap, and I put my sneakers on top of my locker. Fell asleep. And I woke up because they had made the call for dinner, but they don't say dinner, they say child. They come up with a loudspeaker and say child time, child time. And I just hated that because it just sounded like a call for a bunch of animals, you know, child time, child time. So I remember waking up to that, and I'm seeing, you know, everybody kind of scrambling to go to the cafeteria. So I looked on top of my locker, and my shoes weren't there. So I said, the fuck? So I put them. So I started looking around. Well, okay, well, I'll find them later. I put some state BBCs on, which looked like an imitation pair of Chuck Taylors, and went ate. Then later that evening, we out there in the yard, and I'm just like puzzled, like, where the hell is my shoe? And it didn't even dawn on me that somebody had done took my shoes in my sleep. So one of my boys, he looked at my feet on basketball court. Yo, man, let's play some ball, man. I said, nah, man, I ain't really feeling that. So dude was like, yo, where your shoes at? And I said, man, I don't know. That's what I've been trying to figure out. And it hit him. Like, you know what? I might have stole my boy's shoes. So one of my cousins was also an inmate there too. So we went, you know, found my cousin, and my man was like, somebody stole this nigga's shoes. And my cousin, Tony Baloney, was like, what? And next thing you know, we got about 20, 30 boys from Durham. We walking around the whole prison yard asking about these Air Force Ones. So kind of find out this little white guy had stole my shoes in my sleep and sold them to some guy from Kinston, North Carolina for 6 packs of grandma cookie and 2 packs of oodles and noodles. And we found the little boy and beat the brakes off of him. And he told us who had the shoes. So once we get on the prison yard to find this particular dude, it was so many of us from Durham that it almost started a prison riot. The terminology for it was insinuating a riot. So we get on the yard and find this particular dude. He had a few of his homeboys with him. And as we're about to square off over these pair of shoes, one of the correctional officers had fired a shot to the air and dispersed it before it could even escalate even more. And we all got took into segregation, and I sat in the segregation or the hole, what they call it. And that's when I realized this is real shit. Somebody stole my shoes in my sleep. This is real. At that moment in time is when I learned I'm in an environment where you take or you be taken. And it was just, it was surreal. And after that particular moment, once I got out of segregation, they sent me to a different prison. On that bus ride, you know, I'm ashamed to say this, but on that bus ride, I told myself I was going to be a better inmate.
And what I mean by that was I was going to learn how to be a good inmate. And I don't mean by follow by book. I mean, I'm not going to be the one who is the victim. I wasn't going to let no one take anything from me, because I did get into a couple altercations, but nothing was never major. And I say that only because whatever your reputation is in the streets, it'll follow you. So when I got in jail, my reputation followed me. If you was going to go there with me, then you had to be prepared to go there with me, because I was going to defend myself at all costs. But yeah, that was one little situation that went down.
I still watch my back as if I'm on a prison yard when I'm out in society and I leave home. I sure do. I might not say anything, but, I see it. I'm going to know where the exits are. All those things. It's different when you on a prison yard and the guards are walking around with shotguns, walkie-talkies, and they in towers, what look like hunting rifles with scopes on them. You down there on the yard, and ain't nothing down there but dirt, concrete, steel, and guys that have been out there for 15 years, got 15 more to go. And you come in there with your little 5 years. So it goes down. So, like I said, to a certain way, I carried myself in there. And I would say this, I wasn't never known for a punk in the street, so I was never no punk in prison. I got into a couple of altercations, yeah, but they wasn't major. Nobody never touched me or none of those type of a thing. I've seen some things get done to some other people, but maybe they, somewhere down the line, put themselves in a situation where they deserve that. Street justice is street justice. I know a lot of people, and a lot of people know me, and you never know what the next person beside you is going through. Even with that said, you never know what your colleague is going through today at home. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, hopefully this will resonate with people. They can relate to it. They can touch it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a person that they can just actually touch. And the realities of some parts of this is harsh, but it's just real. You know what I'm saying? That's life. But if anyone can't accept it, then they not living in real life. They the ones living in a cartoon world. Things happen. We all make mistakes. I've experienced that it is people out here that will not give you an opportunity because of those mistakes. I'm living proof of that, walking proof of that. I did some things in my younger youth that hinder me to this day in some avenues as far as getting jobs, you know what I'm saying? So that's real. So for anybody out there that are listening, take heed to that, whether you understand that or not. You don't want that, badge pinned on your shoulders, because it makes it extremely difficult. That's just how it is. But life is difficult. It is. Life is difficult. But we could make it harder on ourselves. And I've made things harder on myself. And I spend every day trying to clean that mess up that I spilled and created. They always say it's so easy to get in trouble and so hard to get out of. And that's a true statement. And to anyone out there that don't believe that, then you'll learn the hard way.
This has been a Vanguard Podcast Network original. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Turnaround Podcast, and follow the Turnaround Podcast on Instagram by clicking the link in the show notes. If you'd like to book Stewart Holley for a speaking engagement or to be a guest on your show, please reach out to theturnaround77@gmail.com, and someone will get back to you within 48 hours. Thank you for listening.